Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. You are going to see Trump, former President Trump, win Iowa, but by at least 30 points. We're going to get to his words in a second. Hit subscribe to my super chat. I can't do this without you. Your super chat support is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Let's get started. Let's listen to President Trump explain why he is infinitely better than the competition. Hit subscribe right now. Let's listen to this.
Hello, Iowa. This is your favorite president, and we're going to make America great again. I'm leaving very shortly for your beautiful state. I love that state. I love the people in the state. I'll get there sometime around Saturday night or something. One way or the other, I'm getting there. You have the worst weather, I guess, in recorded history, but maybe that's good because our people are more committed than anybody else, so maybe it's actually a good thing for us.
So this is interesting because if you look at media, they'll say the worst weather in recorded history. This is a lie. We rank this 57.6 Pinocchios. High Tones, hello. SQ, hello. Dying to Die, hello. Everybody here, hello, everybody. Let's continue to my super chat. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Your support is.
But we have to make sure we caucus on Monday, 6:30. Get there a half hour before the 7 o'clock bell. And we're going to do something that's really special. We're going to start with you, and then we're going to turn our country around, and it's going to be amazing. And
we had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income. We had a president who did not start foreign military endeavors. We have a quagmire in Europe that has caused numerous nuclear confrontations, or a possible nuclear confrontation, a confrontation of two of the most powerful militaries in the world. When the Berlin Wall fell, I always thought that the Cold War was over. Democrats recreated, along with traditional Republicans, this new political and foreign policy quagmire. But let's continue. With Trump, we didn't have that. We had none of this with Trump. We had record low poverty and a great foreign policy where he was the first president to step foot in North Korea. We had a president willing to focus on national security, foreign policy. Let's continue.
I'll get to see you on Sunday and Monday and maybe Saturday night late. It's going to be a little bit of a trek. Nobody knows how exactly we're going to get there, but we're going to figure it out, and we wouldn't miss it for anything. So we have record cold weather, record snowfall, record everything, but we will not miss it. So maybe Saturday night. We don't know what time. We have no idea, but we'll see you on Sunday. We'll see you on Monday. I'm going to be helping you with the caucus, and I look forward to it. And we're going to have a great victory, and we're going to beat the crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. Not even a contest. You could take, as I often say, the 10 worst, add them up. They're not as bad. They haven't done the damage that this man has done to our country. So we're going to make America great again. I'll see you on Sunday. I'm going to see you on Monday. And I'm going to be with you 7 o'clock, but get there at 6:30. And we're going to caucus, and we're going to do great. Thank you. See you then.
Does this man sound like he has energy compared to the president right now, who is surrounded by political and public relations executives, almost certainly just surrounded by a team of people? The man that we have currently in the Oval Office is shaking hands with ghosts. And by the way, the poverty rate in the U.S. in 2019 was record low. We had record low poverty. 10.5%. 10.5%. Okay? Poverty rate in the U.S. under Biden, 12.6%. Okay, so 12.6% of the official poverty rate. Went from 10.6 to 12.6. So what was wrong with Trump again? And childhood poverty went up under Biden. Let's continue. Christine, hello. Christine Chong, thank you. Christine, thank you so very much. Please be here this Monday on the live stream. Christine and everybody else, we are going to see Trump defeat Nikki Haley and DeSantis by over 30 points. Christine, you were wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much to my super chat. Thank you.
President Trump, we are so excited to have you here with us in Iowa tonight. Thank you. And
thank you.
You've just got a great group of supporters here in this state. You really do. You really do.
Thank you very much.
Christine, thank you again. Now, I know that this is like a town hall or an Iowa primary campaign stop, but how many people are clapping for Biden because they want to? Okay, you can tell that, yeah, sure, it's a campaign stop. They're not really, nobody's really excited about Biden. He's only going to lose popularity. I mean, he doesn't even have popularity now. But you got to ask yourself, I mean, if he didn't have every conceivable advantage in terms of media, every single possible advantage in terms of media, would he be even close to Trump? But let's continue. Thank you again, Christine.
Well, and Mr. President, new inflation numbers are out this week, and they show inflation is again up under Biden. And the new polling shows 61% of small businesses believe Bidenomics is bad for the economy. When you return to the White House, what is the first thing you'll do to turn around Biden's economic nightmare?
Well, first of all, I think he's been a disaster as a president. He's the worst president in the history of our country. The happiest person around right now is Jimmy Carter. I've been saying this because he looks like a brilliant president by comparison, like literally brilliant by comparison to this guy. There's never been anybody like him. Now we have another war going on in the Middle East, just started up. And we have our Secretary of Defense is sitting in a hospital room looking at his laptop. That's how he's running the war, like a child would look at a laptop. It's disgraceful what's going on. It's a disgrace, and Bidenomics is the least of it, but it's been a disaster for the country. Inflation's now going up again, but really look at the inflation that's taken place over the last 3 years.
So real wages, if you look at real wages, they were up under Trump 1.1% in 2019. They were always up. They were down throughout a good part of Biden's economy. They're only up 0.8% because of inflation. Okay? And I think these numbers, if you look, I think these numbers you look, ladies and gentlemen, real wages were down. In 2021, they were down. Real hourly earnings for all, decreased 3.6% from 2021, June 21 to June 22. So, real wages were down all throughout Biden's tenure. The economy was not good, is not good under Biden. Okay? Real wages were up under Trump. And like I said, the poverty rate, 12.6% compared to 10.5%, a record low with Trump. Before, by the way, Democrats and media said, oh, shut down every state economy. So let's continue.
As I was looking today, energy's up at 38%, and food's up 32%. Everything's up. It's not going to come down. They're not going to get it down. Even if they got it even right now, it doesn't matter. The damage is all done. No matter what you make, no matter how much your salary went up, it's peanuts compared to when you look at all these things. They were talking about housing prices. They were talking about rental. If you rent an apartment anywhere in the country, you're up 40%. And that you can't make up for that. He's been a disaster as a president, and we're spending money hand over fist on Ukraine as an example, and yet Europe, you add it up, it's a similar size economy as ours. Europe is not spending anything by comparison. So it's a very unfair thing. Very bad things are happening for our country. I don't think we've ever been in danger of World War III like we are right now.
You look, ladies and gentlemen, and they'll fact-check Trump, and they'll say, that's wrong. The Cuban Missile Crisis, we're in far greater danger. And it's like they lose the script is lost. They lose the overall point. Democrats, media, you're talking about tribalism. They don't care. Trump was objectively a better president. He was objectively, by every single metric or standard that you judge a president, he was better than Biden. Okay? By every single standard or metric, he was better than Biden. But he defeated them in 2016, and therefore he's a mortal enemy. They thought that he was installed by the Kremlin. These are the people who worry so much about conspiratorial theories. All they need is an intel agency to give them the most absurd theory on the planet. They'll roll with it as long as it benefits them politically. But Trump's going to win. This is the thing. Trump's going to win. Forerunner, hello. Love Trucks, hello. SQ, everybody here, hello. Christine, thank you again to my super chat. Thank you. Trump's going to win by at least 30 points. And it's going to be glorious. Be here Monday. Be here Monday evening for the live stream. We're going to have a huge live stream celebrating. I mean, the beginning of Trump regaining the Oval Office. There's nothing that can stop him, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that not only will he win, the country will rebound. God bless America. I think that the country will rebound. I really do. I really do. And if you're a liberal Democrat who dislikes Trump, poverty is up under Biden. I would love to know your reasoning for voting for Biden, even though poverty is up. I don't need to know your reasoning. That's more of a rhetorical question to somebody who happens to stumble upon this in the future.
And I always say, and I say it in every speech, I will prevent World War III. I know all these people. I know good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't make any difference. I know every one of them, and they're not going to mess around with us. We are weak. We are ineffective. We're laughed at as a country. And Bidenomics is a total disaster, to get back to your original question.
Well, you are so right. And
what is Bidenomics? Do you know what Bidenomics is? Bidenomics is executive orders like banning new drilling for oil and then flooding strategic petroleum reserves. Democrats and Biden single-handedly went after the oil industry, then begged other countries in the Middle East to help us, and then told the U.S. oil industry that they weren't doing enough, as they made it more difficult to protect the planet. So Democrats say, planet, AOC, Green New Deal, then they flood strategic petroleum reserves into the country. You couldn't find a more backwards, completely irresponsible, illogical domestic policy in terms of the economy with Biden. They flooded strategic petroleum reserves while at the same time telling oil companies they were bad for the environment. I mean, you couldn't get a more contradictory economic policy. Then oil went up. Then they said, oh, inflation is temporary. Then they raised interest rates through the roof. Then they passed the Inflation Reduction Act to stop the inflation they thought was temporary. And inflation is directly linked to Democrats and bureaucrats forcing economic shutdowns. And unfortunately, we'll have a devastating stock market crash this year. It'll be 1,000% the fault of policies pushed by the Democratic Party and bureaucrats and media. Media will push anything the Democrats push, so.
You know, we've got some good Iowans here with us tonight in the audience. So who here was better off financially with President Trump? Yeah.
All right, hold on one sec.
Well, I think that's everybody, President Trump. Yeah, I think that's the answer we have. I mean, it's absolutely overwhelming. Yeah. Americans, Iowans, were all better off with Trump. And, you know, a lot of that was due to your leadership of our booming economy at that time, which was due to your tax cuts, the tax cuts that you put in place. And so as a follow-up to that, what would happen to our economy if Biden got his way and he allowed your Trump tax cuts to just expire?
Well, you'd have the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. It will be devastating to people that will, on top of inflation and what's happened, and basically a bad economy. You know, it's a bad economy. It's not a real economy. You look at government jobs are up, but other jobs aren't up. But government jobs, that's easy to do. Let's hire more people so we look good. That's like taking the oil out of the strategic reserves. They take it out of we have the lowest amount of oil in the strategic reserves right now than we've ever had. And that's not meant for automobiles for an election. That's meant for military. That's meant for trouble, big trouble.
So the strategic petroleum reserves, Biden took out millions and millions of barrels. He did so, ladies and gentlemen, he did so right after he ignored inflation. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like, it's pretty unbelievable how media and Democrats will completely ignore the irrational or counterproductive things that Biden has done. And they're more offended by tax cuts than by all the spending that increased the debt a lot more than when Trump was president. And his last year in office, they blamed Trump. He never told blue states to shut down their economy. That's not what he wanted to do. That's not what he wanted to do. That wasn't his policy. That was the Democratic Party's policy. And that was a choice. Nobody had to do that. Let's continue.
In our country, it's meant to protect us. And, they practically drained it in the last election in order to keep prices down. They're trying to do the same thing again. They have done such damage to our country. And then we start talking about the border, okay? Mm-hmm. The border. We had the worst border in the history of the world. We had this wanting to attack our country. Women, all men. And it's a very, very sad thing happening to our country. Our country is being overtaken. We're being invaded.
Thousands of unvetted illegals that are
here tonight. Thank you. 75%. And that's what you're going to be doing. If you vote for crooked Joe Biden, and he's crooked as you can be, there's never been a president more crooked than this guy. If you vote for him, and remember this, he got a lot of money from China, he got a lot of money from Ukraine, he got a lot of money from Russia. Do you remember during the debate when I said, how come you got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife.
And then they say, oh, fact check. And then in a convoluted manner, they say, well, you know, it's the Biden didn't, and even Hunter didn't directly, but it went to a company that Hunter either owned at one time or helped found, and was working with at one time. Fact check. Trump is wrong. And it's like, no, Trump wasn't wrong. It's like, he is linked directly to millions from the mayor of Moscow. Hunter is. The fact check is always going to be this long-winded, apoplectic effort to muddy the waters and say, well, you know what, it's really can't really pin it on, but yeah, the money somehow went there. Somehow the Bidens got control of that money. It's just, it's unbelievable, too, how you can never be suspicious of a Democrat. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever, ever. But with Trump, you know, it's always his fault.
And Chris Wallace wouldn't let me ask that question. He said, well, I have to stop you. What is that? Well, that's become a very big subject. Why did he get it? And he can't answer why he got it. But we have sort of a Manchurian candidate in there. He's a guy who's very compromised, in my opinion. And that's why China's getting away with murder. You know, China now is not doing well because of my tariffs. They cannot take the tariffs off because it's so much money coming into our country that they can't really justify taking the tariffs off.
Okay, so you notice they kept the tax cuts, they kept the tariffs, and Trump was supposed to be this really horrible president. They kept all the policies they claimed to dislike. They kept all the policies they claimed to dislike with Trump. And Rebels, hello, thank you. They kept the policies they disliked with Trump, and at the end of the day, it's like Trump was for economic growth, and he was for a great foreign policy. The most anti-war foreign policy we've had in my lifetime. He didn't want illegal or secret arms deals. He didn't want endless military conflict. He didn't want any of these things. He wanted to create a bridge, which is what he did. And the invasion in Europe would not have taken place under Trump. That would not have happened. All you had to do, that situation was the result of Democratic Party and traditional Republican foreign policy. Do everything possible to lure our former Cold War adversary into an endless quagmire. That's a proxy war, a proxy battle. We are fighting through another country. So is Europe. It doesn't benefit the world in any way. And it has absolutely decimated and destroyed, unfortunately, the country that Democrats claim to care about so much. So, I mean, Trump has been... Here's the thing. If Trump told Democrats, something that was good for them that they needed to, agree with, they would just do the opposite. Democrats will. That's why when they say he didn't take what seriously, anything Trump said, you did the opposite. You instinctively did the opposite of whatever Trump said. So it's like accusing him of not taking something seriously, as if what? You listened to Donald Trump as president? There was the resistance at all times. Democrats were trying to resist from the moment that he became president. Most petulant type of behavior. It's unbelievable. Let's continue.
And I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Hundreds of billions. No other president ever took in 10 cents. And I got along great with President Xi until COVID. That was they control Iraq. Iraq is like, they want to go
When
Army tanks, okay? The problem is they don't go far, and it's a different kind of power. Republicans, they want to go out of their way to show that they're not influenced or they're not biased or that they're fair, and they're really hurting our country. The Democrats are, you just see it in New York, you see these judges. He gives me a verdict that I'm guilty, and my lawyers go up, we don't even know, how has it happened? The trial didn't start. He knows nothing about me. They don't have the facts, they have the figure. Then they say about Mar-a-Lago, the judge ruled it was worth $18 million, but it's actually worth over $1 billion. He said $18 million.
There is no way Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million. There are houses in Los Angeles or New York. There are apartments in New York worth far more than 18 million. So $1 billion? I don't know if it's worth $1 billion, but it's easily worth 100 to 200 million because a former president lived there. Or if, let's say, for example, he wanted to sell it. So I really, really like Vivek. I think he's great. I really, really do. I think that Trump Trump didn't want any of his support to go to Vivek Ramaswamy. But yeah, I mean, Trump really likes Vivek. I think Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be in the lead in 28. I mean, it depends on who Trump's vice president will be. If it's Kristi Noem, she could very well be in the lead. But let's continue.
And everyone says, how do you get that? Now, it's an incredible property. It's just a question of what's it worth. People come in, it's worth a lot of money. He said it was worth $18 million. That's a lot of money, too. But in Palm Beach, it's not. In Palm Beach, it's less than a starter house. It's crazy, right? Palm Beach, Florida. But they make corrupt rulings in order to try and prove their case. And they do it, and they do it against us. And the legal system is a mess in our country. It's a mess. Absolutely, it's a disgrace what's going on with judges.
Kevin O'Leary, one of the, very wealthy entrepreneurs on Shark Tank, he completely dismantled the case against Trump. Said every real estate mogul, every real estate billionaire, every real estate entrepreneur in New York does the same thing as Trump. You're not so. If there's no victim, if the bank didn't make money, and I've been saying this since day one, what is the problem? The bank didn't make money. You obviously are just simply going after him for political purposes. This is why he's up. Okay, the average American is not going to vote for somebody who actually committed 91 crimes. People are not stupid, and they're not going to just simply vote for somebody who committed 91 crimes and who has negative media coverage 24/7. Okay? No politician can withstand that. The reason people are going to vote for Trump is because everyone knows these 91 criminal charges are simply a way to try to interfere in 24, go after a political opponent. That's what Democrats do. They go after political opponents, and then they say, well, it's just the rule of law. It's just the rule of law. Everyone knows they're going after their direct political rival. Everyone knows this.
And again, Democrat judges, especially the radical, don't have immunity. Every president that leaves office will be indicted by the sitting president of an opposing party. When I say every, most of them, okay? Most of them. They'll say, oh, like in the case of Obama, he sends.
So he's referring to a speech in D.C. that they tried to accuse Trump of. But you can't accuse Trump, and we'll do about 7 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, before midnight Eastern. You can't accuse Trump of committing a crime because of a speech. He has presidential immunity when it comes to speeches. Okay? That's the D.C. case against him. He didn't know anyone committing crimes.
Missiles in it.
Beating Biden in Pennsylvania by 6 points. And that's just a few. I mean, how can you drain the swamp and how can you root out those deep state activists who are working with the media to destroy our democracy?
So, and I love that question. It's such an important, drain the swamp. You know, I said that I never loved the term, but it really caught on somehow.
We
have to drain, and we did. When I fired Comey, that was a wonderful day, and we fired a lot of different people. I didn't say I made it easier myself, but we had but you talk about the polls. So Nikki Haley early on had a good poll. It was a fake poll, but she had a good poll where she was up on Biden. But she hasn't had that since. She's getting killed by Biden. She's losing everywhere to Biden.
There is no way, there is absolutely no way that Nikki Haley comes even close to Biden. There's no way that anyone not named Trump gets even close or defeats anyone. Any Democrat. Only Trump. This is what people don't get. There was never a time when Nikki Haley or DeSantis were viable choices. It was never a time. I think after 7 years of the most hysterical, apoplectic, maniacal coverage against Trump through media, the allegations that are completely false, the obsession with Trump, people know, okay, Democrats are absolutely obsessed with Trump. They will do anything possible. They will absolutely do anything possible to undermine Trump. They know this. People know this. So it's not like people are duped or can be duped or deceived. They're not going to look at 91 criminal charges and say, God, he's a criminal 3 or 4 years after he committed those crimes. So we'll go a couple more minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
Biden. And they used the one poll that was very early that was absolutely ridiculous. And I'm beating him in every poll. Every single poll now, I'm beating him by a lot. And she's going to lose. She's not going to be able to beat Biden. And it's not Biden. People say, how could the guy, he can't walk off a stage. He can't find the stairs. If a stair is right there when you're finished with your speech, he's looking all over. He's trying to find the stair. And they have to send people up to take him. But the whole thing is crazy. I don't really think he's going to run, but let's see what happens. I think they're going to stop him. I don't believe they're going to let him. But if he does, that's fine. And whoever it may be, we just have to win because their ideology is so bad. But how do you do that where a friend of mine said, you know, you're up 11 on Biden. How come? And he's not a, political person, but a very smart person, big businessman, called me up. He said, how can you only be winning by 11? Well, 11's a lot in the world of politics, but you have to understand they have the unions, but I think we've broken into the unions now. I think we're going to have the unions other than the top people. We may even have some of the top people, as you probably just saw. But they have the unions, and they have civil service, but we treat civil service too. They have tremendous welfare votes, and they have the welfare vote, and they have a base of about 38, 39%. It was interesting because let's say they have 39%. We have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to run the East Coast. We have to run all sorts of places like Iowa.
So, ladies and gentlemen, be here tomorrow, but also Monday. We are going, ladies and gentlemen, to have a really, really great show Monday evening. So he's going to win by easily 30 points. And it's going to be a beautiful time. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. Thank you, Christine. And to my super chat, thank you. Be here tomorrow. I'll have a live stream at around probably 4 p.m. Eastern. And be here Monday, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have such a good time Monday evening.